Extinction Ascended is right around the corner, finally being introduced to Ark Survival Ascended's official map roster come the 16th of December. Well, assuming there aren't any delays, which will be a miracle in itself, so fingers crossed. In this video I'll be showcasing everything you need to know about Extinction Ascended, everything new coming with it, what we know so far, what I'm most hyped for, and to give you a nice little refresher of this glorious map. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. I'm going to begin with the map as a whole, as I am really intrigued to know how they go about it. Extinction is one of my favourite story maps in Ark. Back in the day it was a massive game changer when it was introduced, as we had never seen anything like it before. I didn't want to start the video off with a negative approach, but I do want to be honest. The Aberration remaster was a massive letdown for me, and I really did believe in the map making the game a whole lot better. ASA really seems to struggle with lighting. I don't know what it is. I do feel like they are overcomplicating the graphics and trying to do too much with the engine. I don't know, but a lot of the time it just makes things look ugly. But yeah, being as Aberration is a dark map, I think it looks so much worse than other maps. Green Zone was horrible, Blue Zone was okay, and the Red Zone was more of that overly intense saturated lighting with too much ground clutter to be able to see anything, which is evident throughout the entirety of Aberration. All in all, Aberration looks so much better in ASE, and it was one of my favourite maps in Ark Survival Evolved, and now it's like my least favourite map in ASA. Plus it is by far the worst map in terms of optimization. It just doesn't run smoothly for me at all, and I have a 4080 graphics card, so it's a massive shame. Sort it out, wildcard. So the island and Scorched Earth were almost perfect remasters in my opinion. The center was a bit meh, they kind of ruined that map for me. And then there was Aberration, so the track record ain't looking great, as it just feels like the remasters are going downhill. Back onto the subject at hand, Extinction is a much brighter map with more variety. It is one of my favorite story maps, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how it looks and crossing my fingers that they don't butcher this beautiful map. And I'm hoping for another great remaster at the same caliber of the island and Scorched Earth. I did want to briefly bring up the Extinction's Aberration area. As I already mentioned, Aberration wasn't the best remaster, so I'm hoping that they improve this area massively and make it better and more optimized. Stop overcomplicating things and make it work, and this map will be amazing. The Aberration area from ASE does fill me with so much joy. Even just watching this footage gives me goosebumps. Sadly, I never felt this way when playing ASA's Aberration remaster, but this footage is just a good example of the map being very well done. It's very basic. Lighting is perfect for an Aberration Zone. We'll have to wait and see how it looks in the next 5 days, assuming there aren't any delays. The final map feature I'm looking forward to seeing in its remastered glory is the famous Sanctuary biome. It is the remains of a great, technologically advanced civilization, the same one that built the Arks. There is still remains of life from the city's past. Law enforcement is still active in the form of robots. The Enforcer and the defense unit can be found guarding the city. The Scout is a flying drone that can be found throughout, which acts as part of the automated defense, alerting enforcers to hostile targets. So you've got to be alert when out exploring, as if you plan on getting aggressive to any target, Scouts and enforcers will soon catch on to your erratic behavior, and they don't mess around. This will most likely be the go-to starting area for the majority of survivors, offering a less punishing environment to thrive and survive in. But you have to remember this is Extinction, so it is full of danger lurking around every corner, with plenty of explorer notes to boost those XP gains for the early game. City terminals can be found in abundance throughout the city and in a few locations in other biomes, and are an important structure to point out as there are no obelisk terminals on Extinction, so these city terminals are a substitute to those, primarily used to transfer tames and items across servers when server transfers open up. They can also be used as a means of crafting engrams such as the Enforcer and the Scout, just to name a few. Plus you can also charge up to 10 batteries in this bad boy. Of course the terminals could be subject to change, but I honestly don't see them changing all that much. Due to the Sanctuary being a giant city, there is loads of flat surfaces that offer some easy to build and cool base locations. Moving on to the old faithful DLC creatures. The release of Extinction will reintroduce some fan favourite creatures to the game. The Gasbags, Enforcer, Managama, the Velonosaur, Gacha, Snow Owl, and the Mech and Mega Mech, which are tech robots that can be piloted by survivors. I'm really excited to have all these back in the game, especially the Gacha for all that tasty loot and resources, as I am known as the Loot Goblin after all. With ASA's previous map installments, many of the map DLC creatures have received mini TLC updates. For example, the Morellatops received a very nice TLC, adding changes to its water tank and the ability to irrigate crops for you. With Aberration, the Basilisk and the Carcanos are now able to breed, which is something they could not do in Survival Evolved, which could potentially indicate that some of the extinction creatures may also receive TLC updates. I mean, I don't mind if they don't, but it's something worth mentioning. Speaking of creatures, we have a brand new creature coming to extinction. The final community creature vote winner is the behemoth that is the Dreadnoughtus, which will be a free creature releasing alongside Extinction. We've seen a good glimpse of this beast in many past community crunches. Here's a sneak peek at some of the artwork from the recent community crunch, and I must say it looks rather intimidating. I'm a massive fan of giant herbivores, and it's great to see another one get added to the game. We've seen more detailed artwork in the past showcasing how large it will roughly be in game. Nothing seems to have really been altered too much over time. In regards to its appearance, taking a quick look at the dossier, in the wild this species does its namesake proud and may even be able to defy the titans ruling our world. Basically, it has been emphasized to rival the titan bosses from Extinction and is known as the Titan Killer, a big believer in picking on creatures its own size. It will only aggro to larger creatures around the size of a Spino or above. It absorbs the fury of incoming attacks to charge up its uncanny element disrupting bellow, which sounds like it will have some sort of charge bar that will fill up when taking damage. And assuming it will have a bellow at its disposal, which could maybe temporarily disrupt tech structures or weapons, that is my guess, the Dreadnoughtus will gladly shoulder your heavy artillery and carry it and you into battle on a platform saddle big enough to earn that Dreadnought name. Your walking war machine will swallow boulders and cannonballs to spit back up as acid-coated ammo, which tells me it has some sort of ranged attack, maybe similar to that of a Wyvern or Basilisk, where it will maybe convert cannonballs and boulders in its inventory as ammo. This thing sounds like an absolute monster, and I can't wait to see what it's all about. It is kind of up in the air whether or not tech creatures will make their return with the Extinction release or not. They were firstly introduced to the game with the Extinction Chronicles event, which added a bunch of Explorer notes and tech variants to the game. The tech Parasaur, Raptor, Stego, Rex and Quetzal, so of course they were not part of Extinction originally. I would love to see them return with the Extinction release, but I wouldn't hold me to that. I don't know about you guys, but I love tech creatures, mainly for the resources that they drop, and giving us the ability to tame higher level creatures as they will spawn up to level 180 in the wild. Plus, by far the easiest way to farm electronics, oil, raw scrap metal, and of course element dust. Which leads me on to it. Element Dust will now be back along with Extinction, a resource I know a lot of people will be excited about. It will give us the ability to craft unstable element in our inventory, which is an engram that can be unlocked at level 58, which requires 1000 element dust to craft one, which will spoil into standard element. There are many ways you can harvest it, through chopping up tech creatures if they do return of course, chopping up the wild enforcers roaming the city, from world PvE events, which we will get onto in a second. The most efficient way to harvest element dust is through slapping lampposts, benches, and tables with the Doedicurus in the Sanctuary biome, aka the city. This will be the easiest way to farm a lot of element. The best thing about element dust is that it can be transferred to and from servers, unlike actual element which cannot be transferred. This leads us on to one of the best ways to farm element dust, and shards. This is through completing element veins, which is a temporary harvestable structure that will randomly rise from the ground throughout the Wasteland. Element nodes follow a similar PvE horde style encounter comparable to orbital supply drops, which we will also get onto in a second. You will have to defend the element vein from waves of corrupted creatures. The difficulty will vary based on the size of the element vein. Of course, the larger the element vein, the larger the rewards, and the larger the threat. Once defeating all 6 waves, you will be able to harvest every shard of element vein that you are able to keep intact, and you'll be able to harvest a lot of element from this. The mantis equipped with pickaxes will come in very handy for this. Be sure to harvest the smaller outer element nodes before harvesting the main node, as you will lose a lot of precious element and it will all despawn, and we definitely don't want that. And I really love these open world PvE events, and I really wish more maps had something similar to it. Orbital supply drops is the next PvE horde style event that you will encounter. It is also a temporary structure and loot drop that is exclusive to Extinction. Standard supply beacons do not exist and are replaced with OSDs. They will fall down from the sky and can be identified from afar with a blazing trail of smoke. They work very similar to element veins, where to secure the valuable contents of the OSD, the survivor or survivors must fight off waves of corrupted enemies. The amount and types of enemies that you fight will be determined by the difficulty of the drop. drop, each one varying in difficulty, health and potential rewards, ranging from blue, which is easy, yellow, which is medium, red, which is hard, and purple, which is legendary, with legendary drops offering probably one of the more challenging PvE game modes you will face in the entire game. Once defeating the required amount of wave defenses, you can approach the drop and eject the items. Be warned that you will probably need a creature pumped in weight, as you will be rewarded with a ton of loot, and it will most definitely weigh a hefty amount. The Titans are the formidable guardians of extinction, with each requiring a different strategy in taking them down successfully, especially if you are wanting to tame them, which is something very cool in itself. Taming a Titan will make you a force to be reckoned with. I'm really looking forward to seeing whether or not the Titans receive any changes at all. I don't think they will, but either way, it's something to look forward to. When you think about it, Extinction really did add a lot to the game back in the day, so I'm really hoping this map brings back that nostalgia and they nail this remastered version. And the final thing I'm going to talk about is of course the Bob's Tall Tales DLC pack, which is a multi-pack of paid DLC for Scorched Earth, Aberration, and Extinction. This edition will be the Wasteland War pack, which has a Mad Max theme to it. The packs are definitely worth the price as they do add a lot of content to the game, considering 3 packs are included in the price. Anyway, this is probably the pack I'm most hyped for. We have had a few sneak peeks over the past few weeks at some of the new features that will come with it. Let's go over them briefly, beginning with the Tribe Tower. This is a giant tower that you can place in your base, 1 tower per tribe. It cannot be repaired and is said to be customizable in many ways. It has a unique function that boosts XP gains for the more days it stays up, capping out at 20%, and if up for 30 days will increase the amount of elements your tribe receives from boss fights by 3%. I honestly don't think it will change the PvP cave meta, but hey, moving on to the new battle rigs. These vehicles are probably going to be the best thing added with this pack in my opinion. They do look very cool and can be very customizable, as we can see from this photo, with 3 different battle rigs to choose from to cater to your liking, with each providing a different traversal experience, so you'll be needing the right rig for the job, whatever that may be. Attachments can be added to the front and back of the vehicles, giving the vehicle unique perks or weapons to use at its disposal. Mounted turrets can also be attached to the vehicles, with a variety of different options to choose from, ranging from the minigun turret, the cannon, seeker missile launcher, the shotgun, and the flamethrower. There's going to be no cooler way than traversing the sanctuary than revving through on one of these bad boys. A brief look at some of the structure skins. We've got gates, a pillar, a cheeky looking door. Do you want more? Yes we do. All looking pretty sweet, giving off that rustic wasteland look. And also character skins. We've got a little preview of a nice selection of helmet skins here, and also the player skins, which in my opinion is definitely a massive upgrade from the steampunk skins. You'll be able to explore the wasteland of Extinction while looking the part. Plus everybody loves skins, and so far the skins have been pretty good from the 2 previous DLC packs. And finally we have the new creature, which is the Armadoggo. Hopefully the creature is better than the name they decided to give it, which of course will come with the DLC pack. A very unique pet by the sounds of it, a dog that is around the size of a real dog. The devs are finally giving us what man desires the most. Well, in game of course, which is man's best friend, which will most likely be your new best friend when out exploring. Of course it cannot be ridden, but it can be equipped with its own armor protection, which you can attach a wide variety of armor attachments to give the player and your Armadoggo bonus perks. Most do sound pretty self-explanatory. For example, the medkit will potentially offer a healing bonus to the player after taking damage, but there is 12 different attachments to cater to your playstyle, and that is a lot of variety, so it's all going to be pretty cool. It was stated that once set into companion mode, it cannot die. It can also help the player out in certain situations of distress, shall we say. For example, it is rumored to be able to free the player from handcuffs or bear traps. Apparently it does also have a bark that can scare away large creatures like a giga, which sounds absolutely ridiculous if you ask me. I do kind of hope that that feature gets changed because it's pretty stupid. Anyway, this is just a small view of the new features coming with the Bob's Tall Tales Wasteland War DLC pack. If you are interested in finding out more about the Tribe Tower, the new vehicles, or the Armadoggo, I'll leave links to those videos in the description of the video and in a pinned comment. That's also going to be the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope I've gotten you hyped for Extinction. If I did, then please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more ARC content. There's plenty more and there's plenty more to come. And don't forget to chuck down a comment. Let me know what you're looking forward to the most with the Extinction release. Hope you are all having a great week, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye.